Be following this book of C.R. Kothari, which is from New Age International Publication. First of all, we'll see the content of this book. So if we'll see the content, it consists of a chapter which starts with meaning of research methodology and introduction, and we'll start with meaning of research, objective of research, motivation in research, types of research approaches, significance of research methods versus methodology, research and scientific method, importance of knowing how research is done, research process, and criteria of good research. Or we'll see the problems encountered by researchers in India. So this is our first chapter. According to every syllabus, the subject it is being offered in masters and or PhD students. They are being going through these contents only from this book Kothari, and then we'll understand the defining the research problem. What is the research problem? Selecting the problem, necessity of defining problem. Then we have technique involved in defining a problem, and illustration or conclusion. So these are the contents in the chapter number 2. Then in chapter number 3 we have research design. So this is how we pursue our research. First we'll define the objectives of research, then we'll write the motivation. This is how you will be mentioning out in your research work. And types of research, these all are that what type of research you are doing, research approach. And then after that we'll define a problem for a research. So for that we need to understand research problem, selecting a problem, necessity of defining problem, then technique involved in defining a problem or illustration, and then we'll design a research. So we will understand what you mean by research design, need for research design. So if you see this book, this is being designed very well mannered, right? I just really like this manner of giving the content in the book. Features of good design. So what should be included in the good design of research? Important concept relating to research design, different research design, basic principle of experimental design, and conclusion. And then we'll see sampling designing. Sampling design is steps in sampling design, criteria for selecting sample, sampling procedures, characteristics of good sample design. So for whatever research we are doing it, we need to know how the sample is to be selected. What types of samples are there? Types of sample design, how to select random samples, what are different samples are there, how to select them. So this is in chapter number 4. Then measurements and scaling technique. Measurement in research or measurement scale, sources of errors, test of sound measurement. All these questions will be asked you during when you'll present your research work. These questions will be asked from you, that what sample design you have, and what measurements and scaling techniques you are using for the sample. So techniques of developing measurement tools, scaling, meaning of scaling, scale classification, important scaling technique, or scale construction technique. Then after after measurement and scaling technique, we need to understand about method of data collection. So once you'll decide the sample and design the sample and scaling technique, then we'll see that what all methods are there to collect the data. Collection of primary data, then observation method, interview method, collection of data questionnaires, then we have collection of data schedules, difference between questionnaires and schedules, then some methods of data collection or collection of secondary data. So this is how this book is being designed. Once the data is being collected, then you need to know that how to process and analyze data. So these are basically the steps in research. So you should know this, that if you have data, what all processing operations it requires, some problems in processing elements and types of analysis, then you should know about statistics in research, measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, measures of relationship, simple regression analysis, multiple and correlation and regression, partial correlation, and association in case of attributes. So we'll understand about all these things in a very simple manner just by looking into the contents in this book of Kothari. Then once the processing and analysis of data is being decided, that how you are going to process the data, then we'll see the sampling fundamentals, need for sampling, some fundamental definitions, central limit theorem, sampling theory. So these are sampling fundamentals. Estimation, estimating the population mean. So these are the areas from where maximum questions are asked in the form of numerical. Concept of standard error, estimating or estimation, estimating the population mean, then estimating population proportion, sample size and its determination, determination of sample size through approach, determination of sample size through like different statistical techniques. Types of hypothesis. One is the next chapter, which says that what do you mean by hypothesis, or basic concept concerning testing of hypothesis, then procedure for hypothesis testing, flow diagram for hypothesis testing, measuring the power of hypothesis test. So first we'll understand what is hypothesis, and then the concept concerning test of hypothesis, procedure of hypothesis testing, flow diagram, measuring the power of hypothesis test of hypothesis. So all these are the contents in testing of hypothesis 1. Then we have chi-square test, analysis variance and covariance. What is ANOVA, basic principle of ANOVA technique. So this is the important chapter with respect to the numerical, if you'll see. Then we have hypothesis testing 2, in which important parameters like non-parametric or distribution free test, relationship between Spearman and Kandal's characteristics of distribution free or non-parametric test. So this is the part of hypothesis testing 2, or non-parametric or distribution free test. Then we have chapters like multivariate analysis technique. Then we have interpretation and report writing. in the end. Then after you'll write the report, like what is interpretation, technique of interpretation, precaution, significance of report writing. Then will the computer, its role and in research, like the computer and computer technique, computer system, important characteristics, binary number system, and all. So this is all about this book, which is being set up in a very well mannered, in a very simple language, from the beginning of research methodology, in which we'll understand about the research methods and an introduction. And it starts with meaning of research with different terms it is being given. I have one more, I have some notes which is like very much important in this. So we'll be covering partially through this book and partially through uh, this notes. I have some handwritten notes also. So partially we'll be covering up the syllabus from both the areas. Right. Research is common. If you'll see in the meaning of research, research in common parlance refers to search of knowledge. So this is research refers to search for knowledge. Once can also define research as scientific and systematic research for pertainment information of specific topic. So this is how you can define it in detail. So it's a search for knowledge, एक knowledge की खोज, or you can say scientific and systematic search. Scientific means a planned, a scientific manner research or systematic search for pertain, pertainment of information for specific topic. In fact, research is an art of scientific investigation. Scientific investigation. Right? These are some keywords which I am highlighting. Like in first line we have seen that it is a search for knowledge. So I'll keep on highlighting it so that you will be able to note down. It's a search for knowledge. Or secondly, it is being defined as scientific and systematic search of pertainment information on specific topic. In fact, search is an art of scientific investigation. Advanced Learner Dictionary of Current English lays down the meaning of research as a careful investigation or inquiry, specifically through research for new facts in any branch of knowledge. And then we have some definitions from different authors. Then like Redman and Mori define research as systematized effort to gain new knowledge. नई नॉलेज को गेन करने के लिए जो एक सिस्टमैटिक और सिस्टमाइज्ड एफर्ट्स हैं, that is being called as research. Some people consider research as movement from known to unknown. So it can be a movement to known to unknown. जो चीज़ पता है उससे बढ़ के, उससे आगे चल के जो चीज़ नहीं पता उसको पता करना. It's an actually voyage of discovery. We all possesses this vital instinct of inquisitiveness for when the unknown confronts us, we wonder. And जब भी कोई unknown हमारे उस process में during research we do, so we confront us. When that unknown confront us, we wonder. Our inquisitiveness make us probe and attain fuller understanding of unknowns. The inclusiveness is a mother of all knowledge and method which man employs for obtaining knowledge of whatever unknown, termed as research. So this is how we can define research. So I hope you have understood the meaning of research, the common points I have highlighted. Research is an academic activity, and such term should be used in technical sense. According to Clifford and Woody, research comprises defining and redefining problems, formulating hypothesis or suggesting solution, collecting organizing and evaluating data, making deductions, conclusions, and at last carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit to formulating hypothesis or not. So this is how we can define research: defining and redefining problem, formulating hypothesis or suggest solution, collecting, organizing and evaluating data, making deductions and reaching conclusions, and at last carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit formulating hypothesis or not. So that's it for the day. So we'll cover the next in the next class. Thank you so much.